Hey there. So today I'm going to teach you about the 3-year highly achievable goal and how you use it to get unstuck in your business. So when you started your business, you probably had this idea, this kind of North Star, this thing, the big problem that you're trying to solve. And ideally what's happening is that what you're doing is taking you closer to that goal. You may never ever get to that core purpose or that kind of big goal or idea that you've got out there. But what should be happening every day is that you're moving closer and closer toward that goal. But the thing is, a lot of businesses get stuck. We get stuck going around the block and we get into the weeds and we're just thinking about how we're getting to the end of the year, how we're getting to the end of the quarter. So many business owners say to me, Jean, but I can't think beyond the next 3 months, let alone the next 3 years or the next 10 years. The thing about 10-year thinking is that it helps you to slow down time. So when you think in terms of 10 years, you've got time to kind of test and try and make mistakes and get everything clear and get yourself going in the right direction. When you just focus on everything that's going on around you all the time, it's very difficult to have that kind of clarity. And what the 3-year does is brings some of the urgency that you need to run a business with, knowing what's going on and where you're going to be in the next 3 years, to connect you to your 10-year goal and to align you with your overall purpose. So let's jump into it. I'm going to step you through this, and at the end of this, you should be able to put together a 3-year highly achievable goal. You can download the template from below, and if you're at that stage right now where you're just trying to get some momentum, then hang with me. This is what you need to be listening to. So let's hop in here. Okay. This is where you're operating right now. I imagine if you're listening to this, you're probably kind of stuck in this 1-year world at the moment. So you may be pretty good at getting things done in the months, in the 30 days. You're pretty good at getting things done for that quarter. You're pretty good at hitting your goals for the year. Maybe you're missing them a little bit. Maybe you're kind of just below them. But bottom line is, you've probably got a handle on the 1 year. The problem is that you're just going around the block. So instead of kind of going up this way toward your big goal, you find yourself just kind of going around the block here all the time and never really finding the momentum to move forward. And the problem sits somewhere in the middle here, right? So you came up with the reason you started your business, your core values, your core purpose, where you want to be in the next 10 years. But along the way, you lost sight of that because of what's going on every single day in the business. So what I want to do today is show you a way to kind of bridge this gap and to go and deal with this big challenge that's kind of in the middle here, right? So what we're typically doing is we're thinking about this in terms of 5 years. And all that helps us to do is come up with a super wild ass guess of how we're getting from here to there. And it gets very messy and we don't achieve our goal. Instead, what I want you to do is to think about this in terms of a 3-year highly achievable goal. So where are we going to be in the next 3 years that takes us closer to our overall core purpose and to our big, hairy, audacious goal? Let's look at this slightly differently, right? Just so that it's super clear for you. This is your core purpose over here. Now, for our business, our core purpose is creating entrepreneurial freedom. So everything we do with our clients and the work I do with my clients, and this is one of the foundation steps that I sort of work with on clients when we start working together, is helping them to put their 3-year highly achievable goal together. But what we focus, or what my core purpose is in my business, is creating entrepreneurial freedom. So creating, and I'm just going to put entrepreneurial freedom here. That's the reason that this business exists, to help you to create entrepreneurial freedom. I work with many other entrepreneurs. Some of the other interesting ones, Eric Rieger over at Webbit Services, their whole business is around closing the divide between the haves and the have-nots. So he wants his business to be a beacon for other businesses around employee ownership. And he may never get to solving the problem, the gap between haves and have-nots, but he wants to play a role in closing that gap, and that's his core purpose. So you may never get to whatever your core purpose is. You think some of the big brands like Disney, this is all about happiness. Starbucks, escape. So those are some examples of core purpose, and I urge you to just think about what the core purpose or your core purpose is in your business. Why does the business exist? What's the big kind of human problem you're trying to solve? Okay. So the next thing then is, where do you want to be in the next 10 years, which is really this over here. So where do we want to be in the next 10 plus years? Now, going back to Eric. So for Eric, what he wants to do is he wants to be, at least for his business, he wants to be entirely employee owned by 2030. Where they are right now is at about 30%, and we're 2025 at the time of recording. So he's following this big, hairy, audacious goal in the next 10 years of getting to employee ownership of 100% by 2030. And another example of this is maybe like, again, going back to Disney. When Disney started, they had Mickey Mouse over here. Okay. And it was all about animation, and that was that big goal, creating those fantastic animations. Then it goes to theme parks, and we get Epcot and Disney World and Disneyland and all those good things, and Euro Disney and whatever else has come. But this is maybe kind of the theme park BHAG. And then we go to Disney Plus, which is kind of the world that we live in now. And you can see here that with Disney, they're moving towards this purpose of happiness, and they're creating these things along the way. These are the big, hairy, audacious goals that they are kind of reaching along the way. And now if I just kind of take this to my own level, for our business right now, the big, hairy, audacious goal over here is simply to create what we call an emerge. Let's go back to this one. The emerge community of businesses. So we're putting together a group of businesses that serve entrepreneurs to help them to create entrepreneurial freedom. And that's kind of where we're moving to create this community of businesses over the next 10 years. So that's all great, and that's like very clear, but getting there in the next 10 years takes a series of steps. And when you think about climbing Everest, you've got the base camps that you go to. So you kind of get to base camp 1, and then you go up to the second base camp, you climatize, and you come back down again. And it's very similar in business, where what you want to be doing is kind of, this is where we want to get to in the next 3 years. And then once we've got there, we'll evolve, and that's where we want to get in the next 3 years, and the next 3 years, and then to the top. And you go back to the NASA example, or using NASA as an example, when they were sort of in the space race and the whole purpose was conquering space all those years ago against the Soviets, the goal, the BHAG, was to put a person on the moon. So with end of the decade, put a person on the moon. And there were a series of steps. They couldn't just kind of get there. They had to first of all figure out, well, where exactly is the moon, I guess. So where is moon? Then I guess, can we build a rocket that can get out of our atmosphere first and maybe get to the moon? And then finally, can we get that rocket to the moon, land on the moon, and bring people back safely? So they kind of chunk things up into these 3-year highly achievable goals. And you can see then that what you're doing is you're lining up everything to get toward your big, hairy, audacious goal, which then lines up back to getting to your core purpose. And that way we get this kind of straight line where everything's lined up to getting where we're going, and we're no longer stuck in the situation of going around the block and not achieving our overall goal. So with that said, what I want to do is very simply take you to this page, which you can download, and I'm going to take you through just kind of putting your 3-year highly achievable goal together. So the first thing is, what's your core purpose? And as I said earlier, for us, our core purpose is all about creating entrepreneurial freedom. So if this were me, I would be putting in creating entrepreneurial freedom. Then the next thing is, what are your core values? Now, a lot of companies struggle with this, and they come up with core values that are maybe aspirational or not their real core values. So I'd suggest you go away and you give this a good think, and try not to come up with like more than 3 to 5 core values. Again, for us, our core values start with freedom, So when I think about freedom, it means two key things. One, freedom for us to work with the people we want to work with, whether those are clients or people who work within our business, to partner with the partners we want to partner with, and to work from wherever we want to work. And freedom for our clients means that they have valuable, great businesses that give them the freedom that they set out to find. You know, when we started this as entrepreneurs, one of the biggest values of all entrepreneurs is creating freedom. You don't want to work for somebody else. You want to work on your own kind of you want to work to your own drumbeat. So that's critical for us, freedom. The next one is fun. So we want to have fun when we do this. Sure, we serious, we do what bring huge value to our clients, but we want to have fun and we want to work with people who have fun. And business isn't just about a slog. It's about having some fun. It's about enjoying it. So fun is really important for us. And then finally, curiosity. So we're always learning. We want to work with customers who are curious. We want to be curious ourselves, and we're always learning. So those, for us, are our three core values: freedom, fun, and curiosity. And, you know, there's a whole lot of kind of things. We obviously want to make an impact, and we're humble people, but the three big core values for us that guide the things that we do are freedom, fun, curiosity. So as I said, the next big thing is foundation 2, and as I said, that's really around your big, hairy, audacious goal. Like, where do you want to be in the next 10 years? And for us, that is the Emerge community of businesses. So we want to bring together some fantastic businesses that serve our customers, serve our clients, to help them to be to find the freedom that they're looking for as entrepreneurs. So that might take the form of sales and marketing businesses, sort of CPAs, or exit tools, or exit coaching programs. So we're basically looking at bringing together a few different community or a group of businesses that are going to help folks like you to achieve their goals. So I said it might be kind of a sales and marketing agency. Whoops, that's a bit thick. Sales and marketing agency. It might be kind of valuations. Might be production stuff as well. So a big part of what we do is create YouTube videos and create podcasts and all that, and having that available for our clients as we move into this more digital age is really important. So that's the second big thing in that foundation. And then the third key thing is, what's our profit per X? And this comes from Jim Collins, and it's fundamentally about what's the engine of the business that we measure. And for us, this is profit per client. Depending on what industry, it might be profit per student, profit per subscription, profit per case, just whatever that kind of key measure is for you. And we go into this really deep during the normal coaching sessions, where we do kind of look at Jim Collins's hedgehog, and we take a look at what your profit per X is, and we figure that out. But I think, to start with, just kind of take a look at that at the moment. It might, if you're early stage, it might be profit per employee or profit per client. Keep it simple for now. And the key thing about this is that it evolves over time. Okay, so those are the foundation things. Those tie back to what we're talking about over up here, right? So all of this stuff up top here, just rub that out. Kind of core values, core purpose, big, hairy, audacious goal, and your economic engine, your profit per X, is all the stuff over there. Now we're going to talk about what kind of comes in here with your bridge. So what's the 3-year highly achievable goal? What's the bridge to get you from where you are now to where you want to go? And the first thing is to think about 3 years from now, what's the date? So for us, that would be 31st of December 2007. Sorry, 2027. Lost a few years there, went back in time. Revenue, so we're a small coaching firm. 3 years from now, we want to be 2 million plus is our goal through the programs and the coaching that we do, so we want to get to there. In terms of expenses, we're expecting somewhere around 720K. So think about the revenue number that you want to be at 3 years from now. So when you close off that year, the revenue for that year is whatever it is, 10 million, 25 million, 50 million, whatever that revenue number is 3 years from now. For us, that number is 2 million, and the expenses, the cost of running the business back then, at that point, is 720,000. And profit-wise, that leaves us with 1.280, I guess. So just over 1.2 million. And what we're looking at there is kind of somewhere around 60% margin. So what's your revenue? What's your expenses? What's your profit? And then how much cash do you have in the bank? So for us, we're kind of looking at having at least a runway of 6 months. And we're probably looking at having kind of a runway of a year. So 720K in the bank, going back to freedom, back to fun. Like, let's have built up a year's worth of cash in the bank. The third thing, which for us is a little bit difficult, is target valuation. Not to say coaching business aren't sold, but I think this is something that I suggest to clients to include, is to think about what the target equity valuation of your business is. So not just thinking about what your revenue, expenses, your profit, your cash is. Think about what you want your business to be worth down the line. And that means taking a look at what the kind of industry multiples at the moment are, taking a look at some of the factors in the business. You may want to go to a company like BizVal and get a valuation done, so you can actually plug this number in, because then like what your valuation is now. So let's say your valuation is, just kind of a hypothetical number, is 1.2 million right now, but 3 years from now, you want the business to be valued at, let's say, 5 million. Okay, so you're really clear about where you are now and where you want to be 5 years from now, what that valuation is, and you're kind of starting to understand things like multiples and how to build something that's more valuable. The next thing is we have these widgets. So what I'm looking at over here is new clients and cumulative clients, which is how we've looked at it. For you, that might be kind of new subscriptions or number of cases sold or whatever. It's taking your revenue number and thinking about what you've actually got to sell to get there. So for us, new clients would probably mean that we need to be, let me just go here, and I'm just going to use some hypothetical numbers, but we probably need to be at 48 clients between our roundtables and our kind of business team coaching, so our one-to-one private clients. And in this year, we're probably adding another roundtable. So one roundtable plus so 4 clients, because we work on taking one new client a quarter. So the key thing, though, is for you to think about what is it that you need to measure aside from a financial number. What's the widget that you need to measure that kind of makes this more real, so you actually know what you've got to go out there and do? So it might be the number of cases that you got to sell. It might be the number of students you have to enroll. It might be the number of parts, whatever that is. Figure out what that widget is. And I've taken or used 2 widgets here. So one is the number of new clients, and then our cumulative clients. So think about those 2 kind of widgets that you need to think about. Then finally, well, not finally, but then the next thing is, what is your 3-year highly achievable goal kind of written in words? And again, for us, it's something like 3 years from now, a lot of what I'm focusing on is to be recognized as the business team coach. Okay, so this is not a financial number, this is just like, what does 3-year highly achievable goal look like? And for me, that's to be recognized as the business team coach. Going back to Jim Collins's hedgehog concept, what is it that you could be kind of best at the world in? And for me, that's becoming one of the best business coaches in the world, if not the best business team coach. So the capabilities then to get there, the things that we have to do to get to whatever that definition is. So if you were to be recognized as the kombucha, kind of the world leading kombucha manufacturer, what are the capabilities you need to build? Or if you're recognized as the merchant processing software place, or the project management platform for whatever type of client, what is it that looks like 3 years from now? So think about that, but capture that. Now this is where things get really, really kind of exciting and interesting. You know, the problem with strategy is that there's this big disconnect and we don't think about it properly. We think about trying to compete instead of thinking about how we can be unique and what the sort of the moat is that we need to dig around our business to make us unique. So these key capabilities are all about digging the moat around your business for the next 3 years. It's about going from where you are right now, identifying the priorities to get you to the differentiators that you want to have in place 3 years down the line. So 36 months from now, what's the moat that you've dug around your business? So I kind of think of it like, what are the priorities that I've got? Let me just put that over there. What are the priorities that are going to build my differentiators, right? For me, part of that's being a key person of influence. So one of the things is publish a book. And as of last week, the manuscript for Finding Freedom, the book that have been working on for the past year, went off to copy editing. So this is we're still working on it, but one of those key kind of capabilities, the key priorities, has been to build the book, to publish a book. The next one for us is basically creating a really powerful online presence. So that's come down to a YouTube channel, which is where you are probably watching this right now, plus podcast. So on the podcast, we interview amazing guests, folks who've been there, have done it, thought leaders, business owners who've been successful. They've gone through getting stuck and kind of navigated their way through it and made the changes that they need to make to get the business back on that growth path and increasing the value of the business. So the podcast, we're interviewing folks, we're using those interviews as part of our whole content process, but we need to build that and we need to get insanely good at that. So we're working on that at the moment. Now, you need to think about these in terms of what are you going to do, what are the priorities over the next 3 years that you've got to be working on to dig that moat around your business. So what we go back to here is, what are we doing? What are these priorities, these 1 year priorities right over here that are going to take us and connect to where we want to be in this 3 year period? So how do these connect to there and to building a moat around the business? So if we go back here, again, you need to be thinking about what those things are that you're going to build. So first, publish a book, YouTube channel, and podcasts. We're building out a whole coaching kind of structure with online coaching, with an online coaching portal. So there's an online coaching element here, and all of that takes time to be built. And then speaking. So a big thing for me this year is, or over the next 3 years, is becoming a key person of influence in this industry and basically lifting my whole profile, speaking, attracting folks through YouTube channels and podcasts, and just being recognized as the business team leader. So those are the differentiators that I'm working to build. And that's where my priorities lie. Again, think about this yourself, think about your priorities, and think about your priorities in terms of how they're going to build differentiators down the line. And then the final thing is, like, what are you known for? So if you were in a payment type business, it might be known for making payments easy. Making payments easy. Now, obviously, this is a bit messy on an iPad, but you'll get this nice and neat. Again, for us, we want to be known for helping businesses regain momentum. So those folks have put a huge amount of work into a business, but it's got a bit stuck and it's been banging its head for a while at a revenue mark or a growth point. We want to be known for helping those businesses to regain momentum and to build value and to have some fun. So this is your first pass. Just gut it out. Just put it on a paper. This is so important. Like, if you can get this on a paper or onto something like I've done, even if it's this rough and you've just kind of done your first pass at it, then you go back to your team and you work with your team and you refine it, then like you've done a massive job already. If you can kind of just download the piece of paper and capture that amount of information, then you've taken a huge step forward. So hope this helped. Look forward to seeing you on the next video.